What's up guys, Jeff from Sorta Healthy here. In my last video I talked about the worst parts of running a personal training business. In this video we'll be doing the opposite thing and talking about the best parts of running a personal training business. Makes sense. I've been running personal training businesses for a good while now, and I think this topic is worthwhile because what I'm describing is what you have to look forward to if you too decide to run your own training business. If at any point while listening to me break down these best parts of running a training business, you're like, meh, that only sounds okay, then it's a safe bet that running a training business isn't the right path for you. You should be very interested in these best aspects of running a training business. If you're not, the cons of running a business, which I discussed previously, will outweigh the benefits discussed here. Before I start breaking down the best parts of running a training business, all I ask is that you consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. This is the best way to support this channel, which is a free resource for all fitness professionals. Thank you so much for that support, everyone. On to the rest of the video. As per usual, the best parts of running a training business are in no particular order today. The first benefit of running a training business is that it allows you to be creative. I'm starting with this one because I feel like it's not discussed too often. Usually people focus on the money and other things when they talk about running their own business, which we'll talk cash today too. But that said, running your own business not only gives you lots of opportunities to be creative, it practically demands it. You get to choose what kind of training business you want to run, and you get to choose how you want to run it. Maybe you want to run a private personal training studio like I do, where you focus on one-on-one and very small group training. Maybe you want to run a facility that only does small group training and yoga classes. Maybe you want to run a studio that focuses on strength training and self-defense. Maybe you just want to do your own thing, renting out space in a gym. There really are pretty much endless things that you could focus on. Even smaller details like how you charge clients, choose to market yourself, design your logo, things like that all require a fair amount of creativity as well. I think this is one of the most overlooked aspects of being an entrepreneur. The best entrepreneurs, which you would be an entrepreneur if you start a business, they're outside of the box creative thinkers. If you don't have any creative ideas to bring to the table, or if you don't think you can improve what others are already doing, then you're better off not starting your own business. If you are constantly coming up with ways in which you could do things better and differently, then the entrepreneurial life could be for you. Another one of the best things about running a training business is the money. And what's weird about that is that I said the money was one of the worst parts of running a training business in my last video. My argument in that last video was that it's possible to make good money as a trainer, but that there are much easier ways to do it. Make no mistake, this is true. There are way easier ways to get to, say, a six-figure income than running a training business. That said, it is possible to get to a high income running training businesses, at least if you're working for yourself. There's no official stats, but I'm sure if we looked at the highest earning trainers in the world, the majority of them would be self-employed. When you're working for someone else, they have to cover overhead, taxes, other expenses, and still make a bit of a profit on your services. Due to that, as a trainer working for someone else, you're only ever going to make about 25 to 50% of the session cost. When you're working for yourself, you get 100% of the session cost, and I probably don't have to break that down any further for you guys. 100% is better than 25 to 50%. Of course, overhead, increased taxes, and all that other stuff are now your problem because you're working for yourself, but you should still come out ahead monetarily if you're running your business right. You can gradually raise your prices and also hire other people to work alongside you, which again gives you opportunities to grow, expand, and of course make more money. Another one of the best parts of running a training business is that you can eventually achieve a flexible schedule. In my last video, I talked about the hours being challenging as a full-time trainer, especially a self-employed full-time trainer. And I talked about how hard it is starting out as any type of personal trainer too. It's very hard starting out, and the hours are usually pretty demanding since you're working around other people's schedules. Running your own training business only adds more fuel to that fire. Basically, you'll be working a ton, especially early into starting a personal training business. If you're serious about running a training business full-time and and maximizing your success and income, your first few years are going to be rough. You'll have to make some real sacrifices early on. Initially, you won't be taking much, if any, time off. One thing I've heard a few small business owners say is that you shouldn't expect to take any time off in your first 2 years. I took about a week off in both my first and second year of fully being in business for myself. I would have taken more time off, but I felt like taking more time off would have negatively impacted my business growth and ability to retain clients. I'm about 3 years into only working for myself, and I feel like I could take more time off now if I wanted to. I've probably just gotten to the point where I could take multiple weeks off or work less days every week and not have my business suffer. It took me a little longer to get to this point because I chose to hire employees and book them up with sessions as well. If I were only focused on booking myself up as a self-employed trainer, I think I could have fully booked myself up in about a year. After you're fully booked, by the way, you really can start to play with your schedule a bit. It's possible to slowly shift things so that you only work mornings, or maybe you can arrange things so that you only have to work 3 days a week. Once you're fully booked and you have a stable group of long-term clients, you can get to the point where you have a fair amount of say over your hours. You never have total control over your schedule because people have work and lives and you have to work around that stuff, but after enough trust is built between you and your clients, the game does change a bit in your favor. I knew one trainer who only worked Wednesday through Saturday, and Saturday, mind you, was only a half day as well. That trainer did about 25 to 30 sessions in those 3.5 days, and that was enough for them to feel fulfilled and to support their lifestyle. There are many ways to get to that point eventually if you play your cards right. Another one of the best aspects of running a training business is that it puts you in a position where you will learn a lot of new skills. In fact, I would say if you aren't willing to learn new skills as a self-employed trainer, you probably won't make it, so this could be viewed as a negative thing as well. I view the opportunity to learn new things, even if it's mostly required, as a good thing though. Just to name a few things, some of the skills that I've picked up while running my training business are: 1. Video editing. My first few video projects were advertisements for my personal training business. A lot of the basic video editing skills that I've acquired were due to me trying different things with video marketing. 2. Website design and SEO skills. I've had to learn all sorts of different things in regards to building different websites and maximizing SEO or search engine optimization. Learning about website design and SEO, search engine optimization, never made sense until I decided to go off on my own, and then it made a lot of sense. 3. Business and finance. I've had to learn quite a bit about business, finance, taxes, and a whole bunch of other related things since going off on my own. Even though I'm not a master in this area or any of the other previously mentioned ones, I'm grateful for the knowledge that I now have. My next best part of running a training business is the freedom that it grants you. As much work as running a business can be, there is something that's pretty awesome about not having a boss. Ultimately, if I want to walk out of this studio at any point in time, I can. No one can fire me. Obviously, doing that at the wrong time would be terrible for business, but you get the idea. This all ties in closely with the creativity point that I brought up earlier in this video, but it extends beyond that as well. I can take my business in whatever direction I want it to go in because it's mine. I can start out doing only one-on-one training and then slowly add other services to my list, such as small group training. I did that, by the way. When we first started out in this facility, we only offered one-on-one training. Adding in very small group training was one of the smartest things we ever did. We've benefited from offering it tremendously. We also used to do a lot of massage therapy in this studio as well. It was great in the beginning. It helped us to get a lot of extra foot traffic early on, and a handful of massage clients did transition over to personal training. As we started to book up more and more with training, it made sense to focus less on massage and more on training. So that's what we did. We've basically phased out massage at this point, and we're pretty much fully booked up with training in this studio. If I worked for some big corporation, making a change like that might have not been so simple. Despite the cons, which most revolve around doing extra work, I really do enjoy being my own boss most of the time. I think I would have a tough time going back to work for someone else. My last best part of running a training business is that it gives you the opportunity to help more people. On some level, one of your main reasons for doing personal training in the first place should be a desire to help people. The desire to help people doesn't necessarily need to be the most important thing, but it does need to be pretty close to the top of the list. If you have a strong desire to help people improve themselves, then that will cause you to constantly be doing things to better serve your clients. Most of the time, people can tell when someone genuinely wants to help them, and they can tell when someone is just in something for the money. I probably shouldn't have to say this, but don't start a training business unless you have this genuine desire to help people improve themselves. If you do have that desire, then running a training business gives you the opportunity to help and improve more people's lives than if you were employed by someone else. You can expand your business practically infinitely. You can employ other trainers, continue to ramp things up, and help more and more people. Or maybe you just feel like you could better serve your clientele in an environment that you choose with rules that you choose. Whatever the case may be, running your own training business gives you the opportunity to impact a lot of lives in a meaningful way. So make sure that's something you're interested in doing before investing a ton of time, effort, and money into this. What do you guys think though? What is your favorite part of running a personal training business? I expect to get a bunch of different answers to that question. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. If you guys haven't already, make sure to go check out the worst parts of running a training business so that you see the other half of this story as well. And if you haven't already, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel, because both of those things do help the channel to grow, and that does allow me to create more free content for all of you. Thanks for watching, everyone, and until next time, stay sort of healthy.